to you my unsolicited advice for your next poetry. Oh, because you wanted it, right? Okay. So a few years ago, my friend Bree invited me to a poetry slam. And when she first mentioned it, all I could envision was a 90s grunge band on stage with a circle of poets below slamming into each other and screaming Emily Dickinson verses. Oh, I ran to that event, hotly anticipating a Keatsian mosh pit. Instead, I was immersed in the spoken word equivalent of March Madness, complete with brackets of poets going head to head in a literary blood match. Since then, I've gone to numerous poetry slams and readings on campus and off, and the vast majority start with this phenomenon known as the open mic. An open mic is where anyone can come on stage and read their work. As you may imagine, in my past 2 years of observing, I have heard some dandies. So this piece, my unsolicited advice for your next poetry open mic, is my reaction to all the crazy. Recently, at a poetry open mic, I stepped on stage and declared that I'm not into poetry. In fact, I'm not even poetry curious. So you can imagine how well that went over, especially when I read a nonfiction piece about sexism and its devastating effects on Chewbacca and Wookiee women throughout the cosmos. When I say I'm not poetry curious, I mean I'm not interested in writing poetry or subjecting myself to mediocre, first draft, crap-ass poetry. I've been to plenty of poetry readings where the authors nailed me to the floor with their lyrical alchemy, and conversely, I have been to plenty of open mics where I have spent most of the evening checking Facebook on my little Instagram machine here, and texting my friends and engaging in chatter in the back of the room. So, what I've done. Here's the thing. I'm the Simon Cowell of attendees and the most ruthless editor you will ever come across. So with that, here's my unsolicited advice for your next poetry open mic, and I am talking to you, my fair, heartbroken 16-year-old. And you, the lonely stalker who I will be watching for as I leave the building. You, the devastated child of divorce / alcoholism / abuse / helicopter parenting survivor. And to you, the artsy, depressive 20, 30, 40-something with nothing going but the entire world against you. Among you lies the basic misunderstanding that poetry is really a counseling session, and that a poetry reading is your monthly group therapy. So believe me when I tell you that nothing fires up a crowd on a Friday night like duping them into your 12-step program. It's simple, really. Poetry is poetry. Save your first draft drama, Jesus, for your therapist, unless you want me to send you a bill at the end of the night. And no, I don't take your insurance. I'm not suggesting that writing poetry can't be therapeutic. It can be the greatest form of emotional bloodletting we've experienced in the rough draft. There will be emotional truths that can't escape the final draft, and that is great. But they will be polished, metaphoric gems, and everyone will feel nauseous for all the right reasons. So to help you find those reasons, I've outlined some phrases you can scratch right out of your poem. Don't hesitate, time is of the essence. Number 1. I am crying tears of blood. Why can't you / he / she just love me? Number 2. Life is meaningless. We are all meaningless and we will die meaningless. Number 3. You know what? I'm better than you. I don't deserve this shit. You're just an asshole. And you know what? You never even treated me good. And I love that one because it gets such good points for grammar. So these are all statements of fact for your less than stellar life indeed. But for God's sake, man, this is a poetry reading, not a Taylor Swift songwriting competition. If I'm going to go to a poetry reading as a non-poetry curious individual, you better draft it, workshop, rewrite, rinse, repeat, and knock my socks off. And one more thing, your William Shatner delivery, we got to work on that.